Hey, Coach Abel here along with Coach Weiss of the Able Body Experts, and we're doing a special little series here on why diets fail. This is part 3. If you haven't, please see part 1 because you really have to understand how the human brain evolved in terms of perpetuating the species in terms of hunger. This is not a metabolic diet issue, and we're explaining now how and why diets fail. And what we have to do is come to grips with the triangle of awareness, the physical, mental, and emotional, tying them together in a balanced way. Otherwise, most diets are going to fail for various reasons. Now, we're going to go into in part 2, we talked about the cue, urge, reward, which becomes a habit and then repeats a cycle in terms of why diets fail. You have the best diet out there, but for some reason you find yourself at the drive-through window or digging into the kids' chocolate-covered almonds and you can't explain it and you don't know why. This is why. This is embedded into your brain as part of the human pleasure-seeking system for survival of the species. Now, what you need to do is address what your causative cues, what are your own personal cues, emotionally and environmentally, to eat off your diet. Eat the foods you know you shouldn't be eating when you're on a diet. And there's usually a variability, but it boils down to 2 things. The expectation of pleasure, just like seeking sex, all right? The expectation of pleasure, we call that a positive reinforcement. You're seeking a positive reward for the eating of food, much like you discussed in part 2. After starving for a contest, you're seeking that positive enforcement of having a taste of food that you like. And the other is the relief from distress, and we call that a negative reinforcement. So people start addressing emotionally why they sabotage themselves. These 2 right away lead to some awareness in terms of overcoming the cue, urge, reward, habit cycle of diet sabotage. And this is part of the element of integrating awareness, okay, of your reward system. Are you seeking pleasure or are you seeking relief from distress or stress? And a lot of times, Coach, we call that numbing. People don't know why they're eating, but they're actually eating because their day is so stressful or their thought process so stressful. They eat not to relieve necessarily that stress, but to numb out from it. So, you got anything to add, Coach?
Yeah, it just makes me think of, and you had talked about this in part 1 and 2, but with the food marketing is very aware of all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Where do you think the term comfort food came from?
Exactly.
It never came from someone following a diet. It came from somebody trying to sell somebody some food.
Right.
So this food is comforting. These foods will bring comfort to you,
right? And
it just plays on people's people's wanting to find comfort in whatever stressors in life and what have you. So
the beginning of the awareness cycle starts with: am I sabotaging diet from the expectation of pleasure, positive reinforcement, or am I sabotaging diet for the relief of distress? And sometimes it's simple. The expectation of pleasure can be as easy as you can only eat so many friggin' green vegetables on your diet before you're going to seek pleasure. Okay, it can be that simple. All right, or it can be a relief from distress, whatever, emotional eating for fighting with your spouse, or just having too much on your plate in a day that this is your 2-minute escape. So this is why diets fail, and this is embedded in your brain. It's not something I made up. It's how the human brain evolved in terms of hunger and perpetuating the species. And this has been a special Coach 'em Up on why diets fail. Anything to add, Coach?
No, I don't think so. I think we got a couple more parts to go through here. So once we go through those, there's going to be a whole lot more, so stay tuned.
I'll just add, this is why coaching is imperative. Coaches that actually have a knowledge of how to integrate that triangle of awareness, that it's not just the diet, the way the diet and fitness industry wants you to believe. Stay tuned.